Hi everybody, we're going to be starting our coil pots here. So this is my example of a coil pot. So you will need some clay, you will need a ton depressor popsicle stick, and you will need a pencil. If you have a little container that you can put some water in, that would probably be a great addition also, but not 100% necessary. So I'm going to start by taking my clay out of the bag, and as you can see, I ripped it by accident. That is actually not a problem. So I'm going to, what I was going to have you do, I'm going to chop your clay into 4 pieces, but since mine ripped, I'm just going to use those like this. It's fine. And taking one piece, I am going to squish it down in my hands like this to make a sphere. You can roll it, but sometimes when you roll, you get like this top looking thing. It doesn't really look like a ball. We do want to start with a sphere. All right, and then check it for any major cracks or creases, and you're going to want to take your finger and move the clay around to smooth those out. All right, there's a couple over here. Okay. Once I have this done, I am just going to press, turn it over, press again, turn it over. Okay, I'm looking to make a flat slab. And we want it to be round, which is why I had you ball it up in the beginning. You don't want this to be too thin. So I'm going to stop there. So when you look at that, it's still pretty thick. This would be a great cookie. I would totally eat this as a cookie. But it's not a cookie, so I'm not going to eat it. And we're going to just take your finger, or you can take your tool, and you want to kind of smooth out your edges because they're probably starting to crack, because you've just taken your clay, you smushed it into a ball, and then you flatten it back out. And this is its protest. It doesn't like to do this. So, and then I can run over it with my finger a little bit too. If you have some water, this is where you can dip your finger in the water to help with this. But you need to be really careful that you don't use too much water. If you don't have water, it's fine. Like I'm doing this, and it's totally working without water. But sometimes water is easier, sometimes there's too much water being used. All right, so this is my base. All the rest of these are going to be my coils. So I'm going to move my paper off to the side here so I have a little bit more working room. And I'm going to start by squishing this down into a ball. And again, you can roll it a little bit. And then I'm going to start to roll it back and forth. Oh, my ring is totally in the way. I'm going to start to roll it back and forth this way in my hands to make a cylinder. So here's the start of my cylinder. And when I get it so that it starts to be a little bigger than my hand, like you can see here. So what's going to happen if I can keep it in my hand and I keep rolling, the middle is going to get skinnier, but the ends are going to stay fat, which we don't want. So I'm going to roll it on the table. And when I'm rolling, they're nice long rolls. So like from the heel of your hand to the tips of your fingers, heel to tip. And I'm moving, so I'm moving from one side to the other of my clay, back and forth. Okay. And I'm going to keep doing this until I get a coil that is the thickness, thicker than a pencil, maybe like your pinky finger. If you want to roll with 2 hands, you can. You just have to keep them moving at the same speed. Okay, so there we go. So there is one of my coils. And like you saw, there's a lot of things that you can do with your coils. I'm going to start, pull this back here, with just plain coils. So I'm going to take my pencil and I am going to make some marks around the outside edge. This is where I'm going to attach my coil. And if you just press one coil onto the clay, it probably is going to come apart. So we need to make sure that it stays together. So this is like creating some Velcro, if you will, clay Velcro. And then I'm going to make some marks all the way down the coil itself. This is called scoring, what you're doing. It actually has a name to it. But if you think of it like Velcro, you're making the two parts of the Velcro. This is going to help your clay stick together. Okay, so I'm almost done. There we go. And now I'm going to turn my two scored edges together, and I'm going to press this down on the edge of my clay. And you need to watch, because sometimes your coil will twist and then this scoring part is not touching the other scored part, and then you've kind of missed out. I've come all the way around one time, so now I'm going to score the top of this so that I can continue to wrap my coil around. Okay, and I keep on coming around, and I need to do a little bit more. Okay, so there is my coil, my first coil on here. Ooh, looks like I missed. Let me reposition that. And now I can take my popsicle stick, and I am going to very gently push some of the clay down onto the base. Let me hold it up for you. And I'm going to do the same thing on the first coil. So I am pressing down just a little bit and scraping that clay so that in the inside you do not see those coils anymore. Okay. You need to do this every time you've attached a coil. Don't wait until the end to do it. It's hard to reach. And then you can take your finger and smooth that out. Again, if you're having trouble with the smoothing part, a little tiny drop of water can help you. Again, don't use too much water. It'll make it slimy, and that makes it hard to work with. So this is basically what you do. It doesn't matter what you are adding to your coil or to your pot, any type of coil. So if you're doing a wiggly one, if you're doing the spirals, if you're doing straight coils, it's all the same. All right. So here on this example, you can see I went around a couple times with straight coils, then I did the wiggly ones, and then I ended with the straight coil on top. Everything on the inside has been smoothed, if you can kind of see in there. All right, so that is the basis of a coil pot. So have fun and enjoy.